You know, we often talk about the valley of death in innovation, that
Yeah.
huge gap where promising academic research just dies before it becomes a real product.
Right.
But looking at the data from Putra Science Park at UPM, it seems like they've built a pretty solid bridge right over it.
Yeah.
We're not just looking at academic papers today. This is a university acting like a high-output engine for commerce.
It's a different beast entirely. And to give you a sense of the scale, we're not talking about a couple of lucky experiments. The data shows 655 intellectual properties,
Wow.
80 different startup companies, and get this 17.5 million US dollars in gross sales.
That is serious volume. So that's the mission for this deep dive then. How do you take a raw discovery, in a test tube and turn it into a protected, investable asset?
It all comes down to how they handle intellectual property. IP is the currency here.
Okay.
If you want to play in this space, you have to understand the different buckets of protection. Most people, they think of patents first. Those are the heavy hitters for, new inventions and processes.
But the bar for a patent is incredibly high, right? The
Yeah.
notes say it has to meet 3 strict criteria.
It does. First, novelty. It has to be genuinely new. Second, an inventive step, meaning it can't be an obvious tweak to an expert.
Right.
And third, industrial applicability.
It has to actually be useful.
Exactly. But what's interesting is that a huge chunk of their assets actually fall under copyright. And that's not just for, novels or art. In this world, it covers software, code, even manuals.
And the protection is robust. The author's life plus 50 years.
A very long time.
This brings up a point in the source material that I think trips a lot of people up. You can't actually copyright an idea.
No, you can't. That's a crucial distinction.
Yeah.
It's the difference between the idea of an automated fish farm
Yeah.
and, say, the actual blueprint for one.
Or the code that runs it.
Precisely. Everyone can have the idea. The law only protects the person who created the expression of it. If you don't document it, you don't own it.
Speaking of ownership, the standard rule is usually service invention if you invent it on the clock.
The employer owns it, yes. But UPM, they flipped the script on the incentives.
How so?
Well, they realized that to get researchers to care about commercial viability, they needed a real stake. So they have a revenue-sharing policy where the inventor gets the lion's share somewhere between 60 and 70%.
Wow, 60 to 70%. So with that kind of upside, researchers aren't just publishing papers, they're building actual businesses.
And that brings us to the prime example of this in action, Carbotech.
This case is amazing. Their main product is CarboGrow, and it tackles photosynthesis. It uses these organic carbon quantum dots.
Right, and what they do is they act almost like artificial chlorophyll. They expand the spectrum of light the plant can absorb.
So it's feeding the plant energy it would normally just miss.
That's it. And the result is an increase in crop yields by up to 60%.
60%. That's a massive efficiency jump. And because they secured the IP, the business side actually works. They raised $1.5 million from investors like 500 Global.
And they're building a factory. That is the valley of death being crossed right there. The IP made the science safe to invest in.
And we see that same pattern in their aquaculture cluster. It's not just about farming fish, it's about high-tech inputs.
Yeah, they have a whole suite of patented feeds.
One of them doubles as a medicine to prevent streptococcosis.
And another one uses recombinant astaxanthin, which is just a potent antioxidant. It boosts immunity and also gives the fish that natural reddish color the market wants.
And on the tech side, they've copyrighted AI systems for grading fish
Takes the human error out of it.
and IoT monitors for water quality. But I think the cleverest IP application here is the sustainability angle. They found a way to turn invasive plants, giant salvinia and water hyacinth,
Which are a huge environmental problem.
into cost-effective fish feed. They took a problem, turned it into a raw material, and then copyrighted the formulation.
It's just brilliant asset management. It really reinforces the main takeaway. IP is the bridge. Without that legal fence around the innovation, you don't get the $17.5 million in sales.
But there is an alternative route mentioned in the notes, one that creates a bit of a paradox.
Trade secrets.
Exactly. The classic example is a certain search engine giant's algorithm. They never patented it.
Because if they had, they'd have to publicly disclose exactly how it works. They would be handing the blueprint to their competitors.
So I'll leave you with this thought. In an age where AI moves faster than the patent office can even stamp a form, is it better to patent your invention and show your hand? Or keep it a secret recipe and just hope no one can reverse engineer it.
That's the multi-million-dollar gamble every single inventor has to make.
Thanks for diving in with us.